I never thought I would actually do it. There I was at 2 a.m., putting my sleeping bag and a bag of clothes into the back of my old car, the Civic, and I was driving to the used store it on Route 9. My dad had said some mean things to me, and I could still hear his words in my ears. Go live in the storage unit if you cannot contribute to this household. The storage unit, the you store it on Route 9, was where I was headed. I was going to live in the storage unit. The fight had started like all the fights. I had done badly in another interview, this time at a local marketing firm where I had completely forgotten what to say when they asked about my plan for the next 5 years. The thing is, I really do not know what I will be doing tomorrow, so how can I talk about what I will be doing in 5 years? When I got home, my mom was waiting for me with that look on her face. My dad was already drinking his third beer in his favorite chair. Another rejection? Mom's voice was flat, tired. I said they would call. I knew the people who said that were not going to call. That is when my dad really lost his temper. I was 22 years old, I had dropped out of college, I could not hold a job, I was a waste of space. My dad had said all these things to me before. This time, it was different. This time, when my dad said I should go live in the storage unit that we rented for my grandma's furniture, something in me just changed. Maybe something finally made sense to me about my dad and the storage unit and my whole life. My dad was talking about the storage unit. I was thinking about my life and what my dad was saying. The storage unit was a place where we kept my grandma's old furniture. My dad was saying that I should go live there. Okay, I said. I will do it. The silence was really quiet. My mom started to say something. I was already going to my room to pack my stuff. I just wanted to get out of there and start packing my things, like my clothes and other things I needed to take with me. My mom was still talking. I did not hear what she was saying because I was already in my room packing my bags and getting ready to leave. Unit 247 was a space that was 10 feet by 10 feet on the floor, and it was climate controlled. We were paying $120 every month to store boxes of china that nobody was using and a dining set that would not fit in our house. I moved everything to one side, looked around my new home. The Unit 247 was 10 feet by 10 feet, which is 100 feet. I thought to myself that Unit 247 was bigger than some apartments in Manhattan. The first night was really tough. I had brought a battery-powered lantern from our camping stuff, set up my sleeping bag on an old yoga mat. The place had one outlet that was probably for equipment that the people who take care of the place use. I was not supposed to use it. I had to. The phone charger was plugged in and I tried to sleep. I could hear the climate control system making a humming noise. I was using the climate control system and the phone charger and the battery-powered lantern. The climate control system was the one making the most noise. By morning, I had figured out what to do. First, I needed to get a job so I could make some money. The McDonald's down the street was looking for people to work. There was a place near the highway where I could get work for the day. Second, I needed to write about what I was doing. If I was going to live in a storage unit to show people something, I might as well tell people about it on the internet and see what they think about my storage unit life. My first Reddit post was really simple. I just said that my parents told me to go in our storage unit, so I actually did it. My post was called Day 1 of Living in the Storage Unit. I did not expect the Facebook post to blow up like it did. Within hours, I had hundreds of comments on the Facebook post. Some people called me an idiot on the Facebook post. Others shared their stories of parental rejection on the Facebook post. A few people offered advice on the Facebook post, such as get a gym membership for showers, use the library for Wi-Fi, and check food banks for meals on the Facebook post. I got a job at McDonald's for the overnight shift. This was great because I could work when the storage place was closed and sleep during the day when it was open. I told the people at McDonald's that I lived with roommates who did their jobs from our home. I had to be out of the house during the day when they were working. The people at McDonald's did not ask me any questions about it. I had been doing this for 3 weeks now. My daily routine was to work from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. After that, I would go to the bakery, get some breakfast from the dumpster. The bakery would throw away pastries that were 1 day old and still really good. Then I would go to Planet Fitness to take a shower. Next, I would go to my storage unit to sleep from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I would spend my evenings at the library, where I would apply for jobs and write updates on Reddit about what was going on with my storage unit. I was still living in my storage unit. I would tell people about it on Reddit. That's when things got interesting. But I'll save that for the next update. For now, I'm still here in Unit 247, and honestly, I'm starting to think this might be the best, worst decision I've ever made. The tomatoes saved me first. I had been living in the greenhouse for 3 weeks now. I had moved my mattress in. I was almost out of money. I only had $20 left. Then I saw the cherry tomatoes. These were the tomatoes I had planted from some seeds I found in a drawer. They were finally turning red. I started eating the tomatoes. They were so good. The juice was running down my face. I felt happy for the first time since I moved into the greenhouse. The tomatoes made me feel like things were going to be okay. I was eating the tomatoes like they were candy. The tomatoes gave me hope. The greenhouse used to be Grandpa's. It is 20 feet by 40 feet. It is made of glass and aluminum framing. This greenhouse is sitting alone at the back of our property. It is behind a wall of blackberry bushes that have not been taken care of. The heating system in the greenhouse still works, just barely. We also have electricity in the greenhouse from a line that Grandpa ran from the garage. The best thing about the greenhouse is that it is away from our main house. This means I do not have to see the faces of my parents every single day. The greenhouse is a place for me to be because of this. My mom would send me messages like that. She would ask me things like, playing with your plants? Everything. I did not write back to her after the week. Plants are really great because they do not care if you did a job at 3 different places in a short time. They do not think you are a bad person for getting bored in meetings or for missing important dates. Plants just need a simple things like water and light, and they need someone to take care of them. For some reason, I was able to take care of plants. I began putting all my stuff on Instagram. Day 31. I am living in a greenhouse because my parents think I'm a failure. Look at these basil plants I have. The things I posted were a bit mean and a little bit because I was really excited. The number of people following me on Instagram grew. It was slow, mostly people who like plants a lot and people who thought my living situation was weird. I was happy to see that people were interested in my Instagram posts about the greenhouse and my basil plants. The farmer's market changed everything for me. I had grown too much lettuce. My brain got really stuck on starting seeds one night, and then I had a problem. I had 200 heads of Butter Crunch lettuce. The farmer's manager felt bad for me. Maybe she just saw how desperate I was. She did me a favor and let me set up a small table at the very end of the row. The farmer's market was a deal, and I was lucky to be a part of it, even if it was just a tiny table with all my Butter Crunch lettuce. I sold all of my stuff in 2 hours. The things I was selling were gone fast. It only took 2 hours for everything to be sold out. This is the lettuce I have had all season, one customer said. What is the secret to your lettuce? The customer asked the farmer who grew the lettuce. The customer really wanted to know what made the lettuce so good. The customer thought the lettuce was great. They were curious about the farmer's method of growing the lettuce. I live with my family, I said suddenly. I pay attention to them. I notice when my family needs things. That's when Marcus came over to my table. He is the owner of Terroir, the farm-to-table restaurant that is located downtown. Do you grow anything? Marcus asked. He picked up a bunch of purple basil that was on my table. My brain lit up. That was interesting. I could definitely do something. So I started talking about the shiso plants I was growing. I also had chocolate habaneros and lemon verbena that smelled like Fruit Loops. He actually listened to what I was saying. Then he handed me his card. Bring me samples next week. The greenhouse was like my special place to try new things. I started growing all sorts of things that you would not usually see at the market, like carrots and white strawberries and these really cool cucamelons that looked just like tiny watermelons. Marcus was my buyer, and he would take everything I had. Then other restaurants began to call me. It was an exciting time for me. My Instagram account started to get really popular. I got to 10,000 followers on Instagram. The market manager said to me on a Saturday, "You need to register as a business." He told me that I am making much money as a business to not be noticed. I had a lot of money. That night, I counted the money in my cash box. It was $1,847. This was money than I had ever saved from any other job that I thought was a real job. My dad came to the greenhouse the morning. I was busy moving the tomato plants into bigger pots. I had dirt over my fingers. I was so focused on what I was doing. My dad stood in the doorway for a long time before he finally said something. "My mother told me that you are selling vegetables. I do not know if this is true or not. My mother says that you are selling vegetables. Maybe you are, at the market selling vegetables. My mother is talking about you selling vegetables." "Microgreens," I said, not looking up. "I am growing these for a wedding that is happening next week. The people having the wedding are paying me $200 for 10 trays of microgreens." I was starting to think he was not going to say anything. He was quiet for long enough that I finally looked over at him. The plants were what caught his attention. He was staring at the rows of plants. He was also looking at the grow lights that I had bought from someone. I had set up the plants and the grow lights in an organized way. This was surprising because my brain is usually all over the place. In this space, I had managed to create something that was really well organized. The plants and the grow lights were all arranged in a way. He said this after a time. "I did not know you could do this," he said finally. "Neither did I wanted to say. But the plants knew. Somehow they always knew. I drove into my parents' driveway for the first time in 8 months. This van, the van that had once felt like a prison, to me was now my van. It felt like my freedom. My parents needed to see my van and understand that it was my freedom now. My dad was standing on the porch. He said to me, "You still living in that thing?" This time, he did not sound mean about it. He actually sounded like he was really interested in the thing. Maybe he was a little impressed with it now, which was different from how he used to be. The thing was my home. My dad was looking at it in a new way. "I am still living in her," I obliged. I patted the dashboard of the van. The van is really my home, though the word living does not really say at all about my situation with the van anymore. I named her Athena somewhere around month 3, when I finally stopped seeing the van as something icky and started seeing the van as a good thing. The 2008 Ford E250 that had sat rusting in their driveway for years was now my office, my home, my ticket to a life I never could have imagined when they threw me out. I was really starting to like the van. The van was my life. The van, which was a 2008 Ford E250, was something that had been sitting in their driveway for a time, but now the van was mine. I was using the van to start over. My mom came outside. She was wiping her hands on a dish towel. "The neighbors have been asking about me. Mrs. Chen saw my LinkedIn." I could not smile. The same neighbors who would whisper about their 30-year-old son living in a van were now seeing my title as a remote senior developer at a startup in Silicon Valley. My neighbors were seeing my senior developer title at a startup in Silicon Valley, and this was pretty funny. The neighbors were looking at my senior developer title, and I thought this was really ironic. I was thinking about the irony of my neighbors seeing my senior developer title at a startup in Silicon Valley. I said to them, "Do you want to see what I have done with her?" I walked to the doors and they followed me. When I opened the doors wide, they could see everything. The old milk crate and sleeping bag were gone. That was a big relief. I had put in bamboo floors and they looked really nice with the lights underneath. My computer screens were attached to an arm that could move around, and they were above a desk that could fold down. I had also built a bed, and under it I had 60 gallons of water and a lot of batteries that could make everything work for a whole week. My mom said, "This is nice." She was talking quietly. At the time, she was touching the cedar paneling that I had put in. I brought up the thing you said about me not using my computer science degree. I showed you my banking app. I have saved a lot of money this year. $68,000. I do not pay rent. I try to keep my expenses very low. This year, I have been to 12 states. I went to 5 tech conferences. I met a lot of people at these conferences, people I would not have met if I was working in an office. My dad was looking at my setup. He is very good with his hands. I could tell he liked what he saw. You did all of this setup yourself? I told them about YouTube University. I found out that I am really good at learning things when I want to learn them. YouTube University is a place for me to learn new things because I can watch videos and learn at my own pace. I like YouTube University because it helps me learn when I am motivated to do. The truth was not simple. Those first few months were really tough. I had to sleep in my car at Walmart parking lots, wash up at Planet Fitness, and do my coding work at the library until it was time to close. I took on every job I could get, like delivering food for DoorDash, driving people around for Uber, and doing freelance work. But at some point, I figured out who I was again. Maybe it was when I was fixing my code at 2 a.m. in a McDonald's parking lot, or when I saw the sun come up over the Pacific. The van life community really took me in. I met people who were living on the road, and they showed me how to use solar panels and special toilets that turn waste into compost. They taught me how to find places to camp on public lands. I was learning how to build a life that was not what most people consider normal. When I got jobs as a freelancer, I put every single penny back into my van, or I saved it. I was really trying to make the most of my life as a van lifer, and the van life community was a part of that. I got a job at a startup because of someone I met at a tech event in Denver. This guy and I had sat around a campfire together. It turned out he was the chief technology officer of the company. He told me that the company does not care where I do my work. The startup job had come through this connection I made at the Denver Tech Meetup. The company cares about what I can make for them, not where I work from. My dad said to me, "You are making money." He closed the band doors. "You could afford to get an apartment," he said, talking about the money I am making. My dad thinks that with the money I am making, I should get my own apartment. I can definitely afford a house, I said. The thing is, I don't really want to buy a house right now. The reason is that I like to travel, and next week I am driving to Yellowstone. I will do my job from the mountains for a days. Then I will go to Seattle for a meeting. After the meeting in Seattle, I might go to Portland. I might go to San Diego. My office, which is basically my car and my laptop, has the views in the world. The Yellowstone Mountains and the Seattle City views, the Portland food trucks and the San Diego beaches. My office is always changing, and that's what I like about it. My office is Yellowstone and Seattle and Portland and San Diego. My mom hugged me then. She really gave me a hug, for the first time since that night when my mom and dad told me I had to get out of the house. She said sorry in a voice. The woman did not understand what was going on. She was saying that they did not know what to do. The woman and the people with her did not understand the situation. I said that I did not know either. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to the person is when they have to figure things out for themselves. This is because being forced to do something can be a good thing for the person, and the best thing that can happen to the person is being forced to figure it out for the person. As I drove away that evening, heading for wherever I wanted, I thought about how they'd meant it as punishment. Go live in the van. Instead, they'd given me everything.